Hey everybody, Kevin Wagstaff with Spectora here. I'm one of the founders. I'm going to take you through a full platform demo today. It's been a lot of months. A lot of you have been asking for a full platform demo since so much has changed over the last 6 months. So let's get started and dive in. So first, when you log in and get started, you'll be at your dashboard here. You'll see if you have any inspections for today, they will be right here in this today box. You have a map here that'll show you your route for the day. Here to the right, this is where any requests will show up from your online scheduler or your inspection request form, which we'll get into here in a bit. Here's a little information about our Jumpstart package. This is suitable for new inspectors that need a website and software. And down here, you'll see your calendar, which will be filled out, hopefully, and have your inspections that look just like this. If you're a multi-inspector firm, you'll see multiple boxes or multiple circles next to each inspection to show you how many inspectors are working on that particular job. And then further down, you'll see your in-progress inspections. These are ones that are yet to be completed and sent out. Then further down, you have some links here for support, our user group, and then a link to report bugs, and also our features roadmap where you can request features. The first big area I want to jump into is your template. So everything kicks off with the template. It's how you start every report. Every report, when it's created, starts with a template. So go into your template. The default here is the Heirarchy residential template. What you want for the default here is set in settings, inspection request form, default template. So the first place I want to show you within templates is the template settings, and you can get to this by clicking on the title or clicking on the 3 little dots here and going to template settings. Here you can rename the template. The friendly display name is what will show to the client on the inspection details screen. Here you have the header text, and this first one is going to be your full report header text, and this is going to show on the full HTML report as well as the full PDF. Here you have the summary header text. This is going to show on the PDF summary. So keep in mind that these are 2 different pieces of text that'll show up in different places. Your display options for you Trek and Texas folks out there, this is where you will select the Texas REI 7.5 to display and output your PDF to that form. Here you can display category count summary. You can always click here to the right to see how these look on the report. The items inspected. To display your signature, this is for you states that require a signature on the report. This displays on the report right here. And you can add it in your profile. If you go here, click through to your name, and add your profile there. To display your standards of practice or not, this displays on the report in a tab labeled standards. And this is on a per section basis. So this is what this looks like here on a report. And this is where you would decide to display it or not display it. Some inspectors will add this as an attachment to their reports as opposed to cluttering up the report with the standards. The smart layout for informational comments, all this does is minimizes white space, and it separates the long and the short comments and kicks the longer comments further down the informational section like this. If you turn this off, they will be ordered the way you order them in your report. Item ratings. So using the ratings or not and using the grid or not is a very polarizing topic. Some of you like the grid, some of you like the ratings to just keep yourself organized while you're doing the inspection. The ratings allow your template and your reports to have certain ratings like inspected, not present, deficient, observations, whatever you want to label them. This is simply if you want to use that or not, and it will show up in your mobile app if you do use it. Displaying the grid. What does it look like? This is the grid that we're all familiar with. It's split down the middle. There's not a wrong answer here. Some of you like it, some of you don't. This is where you decide that. Ratings behavior. So we'll start with classic ratings here. So what this means is that your inspected, not present, and your defect ratings are tied together. So what this does, if you click inspected, you can't click not inspected or not present, or else it'll toggle that off. So they're tied together, and the comments show and hide based on a selected rating. So if you select something was not inspected or not present, you're going to see your limitation comments show up when you tap that, as opposed to when you select deficient or observation, that's going to show you all of your defects once you tap that. So it's meant to have less taps. It's meant to be less taps for you. And marking not inspected, not present will complete the progress meter. So this is by default what we have. Most new inspectors prefer this rating system. However, for the experienced inspectors, you can have custom ratings. And this is where you can go in and change the word that you want for each of your 4 categories, for inspected, not inspected. And this is ideal for other types of inspections. And for those that want to save tabs here, you can default any of these to being checked off to get you a head start. If you're sure you're checking everything, so experienced inspectors will do default to check for inspected. Some want everything as not inspected until you tap it off as inspected. So that is where you would do custom ratings. So now we'll move on to defect categories. So this is the severity and the labels you assign to your defects. And you can have 1, 2, or 3 of these selected. So right here we have 3 selected. Your defect label, you can change this, and you can also change deferred maintenance, recommendation, major issues here to whatever you want it to say. And this is what it looks like here in the mobile app when you're toggling the category label. This is also where you will select if you want these in the summary or not. You can take some of these out of the summary that's generated, and that is the mobile summary as well as the PDF summary. Finally, a beta feature that we're working on, and that's sharing your template to the template center. So for you inspectors that have a great template and want to share it with the community, this is where you can decide if you want to share that or not. And then any changes you make sure to hit save all. Now that we've covered the template and template settings, I want to go into the inspection agreement, another common first question we get. So to make sure you have your inspection agreement set up, you would go to settings, inspection agreements, and here you'll see the default inspection agreement, which you can go in and edit. Most of our new inspectors find this just fine. It is based off Heirarchy's inspection agreement. So you are protected in a way there. Make note of the placeholders in any of our automation section. What this does is this dynamically inserts the client name when you set up the inspection and their address, the price of the inspection. So you don't have to enter this in every time. This is part of what saves you so much time using Spectora, is the dynamic insertion here. So the way you would add these is simply by clicking on the placeholders over here. And you'll see it enters in the double bracket placeholder. So once you have that added and set up the way you like it, you'll save it. So that way when you create a new inspection, you'll have the option to automatically generate this inspection agreement. The last part of template settings that I want to go through is here. You'll see your other templates in this drop down. If you want to create a new template, you can start from scratch. You can clone from another template. You can import from another software or import from a spreadsheet. So click on any of these and you'll see a link with instructions of how to do each. And then as I said, the 3 dots here, you can go to template settings, your template tools. What this will do is this will alphabetize all of your comments, or you can remove the default recommendation. And that is that you recommend to contact a plumber, an HVAC technician, so on and so forth. You can also export your template to a spreadsheet. You can share your template with another inspector. This is how a lot of our new inspectors are getting up and running. They're going into our Facebook user group, asking experienced inspectors to share their template, and this is how they would share it with you. All right, now that we have the template settings taken care of, let's go into basic template editing. We'll have a specific video for this that goes more in depth, but when you're in a template, you can always modify anything within the template. You can drag sections and items and move them to where you want them. You can always edit the name by hovering over any section or item, clicking on the pencil icon. And when you click on the pencil icon, one thing to note here is that there's optional and items that are included in every report. So this is the most common mistake I see new inspectors making, is they'll have an optional item or section, and then they won't see it on the report and they'll say, hey, where's my exterior section? When something is optional, you have to actually add it to the report by clicking new section or new item. So always make sure that the sections that are included in every report are set as so. Here you can also hide the overview grid section just on that section. So for certain sections, you can have the overview grid if you want. Here you can select a different icon, and this is where you would insert your standards of practice or modify them if you want to change them up. Mobile reminders were designed for our newer inspectors, and these show up in the mobile app with the 3 little dots on any section or item. These do not show to the client. When you get down to the item level, if you click on the pencil icon, you'll see the same thing. You can change the title. You can change each individual item to not have ratings. So if you don't have inspected, not inspected, deficient for a certain item, then it's more like a general overview type item. So you can always uncheck that to not have the ratings for that particular item. You can duplicate an item or section. So if you were to duplicate a section, it's going to ask you which template you want to duplicate it to. So you can duplicate a section to another template. Here, it'll ask you to go to a different template. With items, you simply will duplicate it to either that existing section or a different section within that template. You can move items. So if you're, say, within your roof section and you go into roof coverings, say you want to move that to a different section, you can do that. And this is a good time to define the hierarchy of our templates and reports. So you'll notice we have the section level, and then you drill down to the item level. That's all within this roofing section. And then when you click on coverings, you're now drilling down into the comments within roof and coverings. So now we're within the coverings item, and we have the material of the roof coverings, and these are our choices in our template. So you'll see within roof coverings, we have the informational comment here, and then further down, we have the defects and observations. So this is where you would create new defects, new observations under roof coverings. You'll also have the template controls here to move to a different section or item, duplicate it, edit the name of the comment. And if you click on it, it expands the comment to where you can mark it as default to checked. You can default it to a major issue or safety hazard or a maintenance item. And then you would have a default recommendation for who the client should contact for a quote or more info. This is the location. This is if there's a default location attached to any given comment, you can have that there. And then your narrative comment, however you want to word it, would go in here. And this is the comment that's attached to this title defect. So every time you tap on damage general, this comment would show up. This is also where you would add a default photo for any given comment. So a lot of inspectors will use sketches or drawings to include and to show the client how a flashing works or how a roofing system looks like. Another important thing to note is that when you are in the template editor, you'll see the name of the template up here, and notice there's no address here in the top blue bar. So make sure you always know when you're in the template versus when you're in a report and you see the address at the top. One big question we always get is, can I add to my template as I'm doing reports? And this is one of the most powerful aspects of Spectora. It's one of the major areas that saves inspectors a ton of time and headaches. Yes, you can add to your template as you're writing a report, either from mobile or from desktop. Then you'll be presented with a save to template prompt whenever you add a new section, item, comment, informational comment, multiple choice answers, anything. You'll have the option to save it to your template. Those additions to the template start to show up on the very next day's inspections. So think of our template system as stamping out that template every morning at 3 a.m. for your day's inspections. So any changes you make will start to take hold the next day. So that's an important concept of thinking of our templates as stamping out a copy of what the template is at that time every morning at 3 a.m. for those days' inspections. One question we get a lot is, how do I see changes I just made to my template? So when you make changes to your template and you're just getting to know Spectora, you can go into any inspection and delete the template or report and re-add it. So you would do that by clicking into the inspection like I did here. And the inspection details screen is what we call this screen here. So you'll use this a lot. So when you go into this report, you just hover over your report or template here and delete it, and simply click New to re-add a template here. So you'll add your template. That'll take a few minutes to build, and that'll have your most up-to-date template. So that's how you manually would delete a report and re-add it to an inspection. But this process happens every morning at 3 a.m. for your day's scheduled inspections. Next, we'll go into automation. So this is the suite of features in Spectora that will dictate the emails that go out, anything your client or agent receives, and how you also deliver the report. So this is a very important section. It's something you should be looking at fairly early. So click on automation, and the first thing you'll see across the top is your email queue, email sent, text queue, and text sent. We'll get back to this, but this is basically where you would go to see which emails are set to go out in the future and what emails have already been sent from your account. So the first and most important email is the booking/confirmation/scheduling email. So when you click on scheduling, click on edit template, and this is the inspection confirmation email that goes to your client when you book an inspection. So think about when you click save on a new inspection, unless you disable the notifications, which I'll show you how to do, this is the email that your client's going to receive. So click in here, you'll see the subject line, and then you'll also see our stock email here, which you can delete, edit any parts of this. Keep in mind that the placeholders are in here already for you to just go out of the box. This inspection link placeholder is going to link to the inspection details screen that we just looked at a minute ago. This is what it looks like. This is what the client will see. So when they click through on the inspection link, it's a button that takes them to the inspection details screen. There's plenty of other placeholders over here that you'll use in other emails, such as the report link, the invoice, the PDF. We'll get into that in a minute. You'll also want to review the confirmation email that your agents receive when you book an inspection. And this will have the address, client name, inspection date, and time by default. Again, edit this to your liking. This is the email that goes out when you click Save Inspection. You can also send out confirmation for listing agents. A lot of inspectors will use this as a marketing tool to get out in front of listing agents. Down here are the email templates for reschedules. So when you reschedule an inspection, this is the email that will go out to the client, agent, and listing agent. This next section, inspection agreements and fees, this is the email that goes out when you add a new inspection agreement or a fee after the initial booking. So think radon, mold, any add-ons. This is the email that gets sent when you add those. Next are your pre-inspection reminder emails, and these automatically go out at whatever time increments you choose. So this one is going out 3 days before the inspection. So take a look at these emails and really word them the way you want and include the information that you want to be in here. Some inspectors will link to articles on their website, which is great for SEO. That's a strategy we recommend. You can include the invoice, you can include a link to the inspection details. Some inspectors will link to the inspection details screen with the inspection link again to kindly remind the client to pay and sign the inspection agreement. So make sure to go through each of these to make sure they're customized the way you want them and sending out when you want them, as well as text messages that go to the client to remind them of the inspection. The same thing goes for your agents. So the buyer's agent can also get these reminders, and you're going to want to customize these to speak directly to the agents, as well as text messages here. The listing agent reminders, some inspectors will again use this as a marketing tool. It's unchecked by default, but something you can include. The report tab is where your report delivery emails live. This is one of the most important emails that gets sent out when you publish the report. Here you can also check off to be notified to get an email when your client and agent views the report. But here's where you can modify the email that the client gets when you click publish. So here's where you can link to the report PDF, the report summary PDF. So there's a couple different options here, and you can tailor this for the client and the agent based on what you think they would want to see. One important thing to note here is that you can modify this email before you publish any given inspection. So when you click publish, you're going to get an overlay that shows you this email as well as your agent email that you can always change per inspection. So if there's customized language for a particular agent or a particular client, you can always type this up when you click publish so that it will not just automatically send when you click publish. You'll have an opportunity to edit those emails. All right, next we have the post-inspection follow-up emails. This is again another area that makes you look very professional with very little effort on your part once you get it set up. So check into your post-inspection client emails, activate these. We do recommend 2 to 3 of these, especially when you're asking for reviews. This is one of the most powerful ways you can build up your local SEO as well as your brand by asking for reviews multiple times. For new inspectors, it's something we've seen a lot. There's an apprehension to asking for this. This is something you just have to get over and do. It can really propel your business. We've seen a lot of our inspectors in 1 year go from a couple reviews to over 50, and it's really transformed their business. So really utilize this and pay attention to what's going to the client after the fact, because these reviews are gold. So click into the edit template and you'll see we have some base language for you in there. Make sure to customize it. If you need help adding your review links to Google and Yelp, just reach out to us and let us know and we'll help you out with that. The same goes for the client agent post follow-up emails. Make sure to do at least 1 or 2 of these. Again, don't be afraid to ask agents for reviews as well. And the post-inspection emails for the listing agent, again, another good marketing tool, something to experiment with. Then we get down to email settings here, the last part of automation. What this is your point of contact. This is more for multi-inspector firms. It's the name and the contact info you want on the inspection details screen and on all emails that come from your company. You can select inspector or company here. This is just the from name on all emails and on the inspection details screen. You can BCC all emails from your company. If you have a company email address that you want to see everything that's going out, you would add that here. And then here is where you would select your header and footer for the emails that go out on your behalf. By default, we're going to take the logo that you put in your profile settings, and as well as your information that you put in your inspector profile will use as the default footer. So most of you are set there. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the automation section, if you ever want to see which emails are going to go out in the future, click on email queue. There's none in here for this test account. You can also click in the email sent queue to see what has been sent out, who it's been sent to, and you can view each email. This is also where you can resend an email. So this is another common question we get. Hey, the client, the agent didn't get the confirmation email. How do I resend it? You would go to automation, email sent, and click resend. All right, next we're gonna go through your basic Spectora settings. So we'll click into settings. This is one of the first things you should be doing when you set up a Spectora account, is going into settings. The first thing we're gonna hit is set up services and fees. So click into there. This is where you're gonna set up the services and fees that you plan to offer. So this is where you would go in and add your base residential inspection. Your base cost is going to be what your inspections start off at. So any modifiers or add-ons will be in addition to this price, as well as the base duration. So if your inspections typically take 3 hours, even for a small single family home, you want to get that base duration in here because everything's going to be in addition to that. This is the template you want to generate every time that this service is booked or added by you. So you would add your default template here and your default agreement that you want generated. And now we get into the modifiers. This is where you're going to want to add fees for particular ranges of square feet. So pay attention to the box over here and notice that this is square feet is selected. It's between 1,500 and 2,000, and that includes the number 2,000. So a 2,000 square foot home is going to incur a $50 fee on top of the base fee to equal $350, and it's going to add a half an hour to the 3 hours. So remember, this duration blocks off your calendar which we'll get into in a minute with online scheduling. This will block off your calendar for 3.5 hours and not allow an inspection to be scheduled within that time frame. So you'll see the different square foot modifiers here going all the way up. Notice you can add a modifier. You can do age of home, and keep in mind, this is the age of the home, not the year it was built. So this is another common misstep we see, is that the age of the home is very different from the year built. So just make sure that your year built and age of home are designated there. So these modifiers will change the price of the inspection automatically when you hit the new inspection page, put in the square footage and the age of the home. You'll also have the ability to modify this manually should you need to. Next are add-ons. So this is radon, sewer, mold, your other services that you want to add on when someone books a residential inspection, but you also want to let them know that, hey, you can save $50 when you do a radon test. Some do military discounts here, friends and family discounts, and these show up on your online scheduler when someone selects any given service. And then these are also available to you when you book a new inspection. You can simply check off these boxes to add on a sewer scope or a radon. Same concept, you'll add an additional fee as well as any duration that would add to the inspection. If you use this in the discount way, you'll put a negative on the fee. So then when you're booking an inspection or when someone books an inspection online, they're checking off this discount that'll take off $30 from your base inspection fee. So just keep that in mind. So we made this section very flexible so you can really package up your different inspection services. You can do it a la carte, one by one with add-ons, or you can package it all together like here. Like say you want the best value package, you can add multiple templates, you can add multiple agreements, you can have it all bundled together and price it accordingly. For you multi-inspector firms out there, setting up your team will be one of the first things you do. So click into Setup Team. This is where you can add additional inspectors. When you click to add them, it'll give you the option to pay monthly or annually once you're signed up as the admin account. And this is where you can give them different permission levels. And if you hover over the little question marks here, it'll tell you what each permission level allows them to do in a little more detail. This is where you would also add your admin or support staff. There's no charge on Spectora to add them. Anytime you add an inspector or support staff, we will automatically send them an email for them to set up their password and log in. So there's nothing you need to do on your end except get their correct email entered in there. If your inspectors or staff needs to reset their password, you can always go to this link here. And that'll help you get the password reset and or resend your confirmation email by clicking on this link. And as we're talking about logins and passwords, for any individual account, you always want to go down to user options to change your email and or password. And this is what you log in with. And this is what also shows on reports on the inspection details screen. So this is where you would do that. All right, next is online scheduling. So I want to show you quickly what the online scheduler will look like. So here's an example on a demo site. So you have the online scheduler here and it's in a 2-column setup. So you can have this be full screen to be on your schedule inspection page to take up the whole page, or you can put it in a sidebar or a column. It is responsive. So here's an example of what it would look like as you're going through. We have some add-ons here. You would put in the address. So that's how it looks on the client end. So settings wise, you want to make sure to go in here and enable it. The first part you want to designate is if you want to mark off time slots on your online scheduler when you can do inspections like 9 o'clock and 2 o'clock. You'll see here on Sundays, there's 2 p.m., 8 a.m., 8 a.m., 2 p.m., that one's backwards. But you can add these slots for each individual day for your whole team. That's one way to do it. The other way would be to have open scheduling. And this is where you would just set up your availability schedule within hours, like 8 to 5. They can schedule an inspection anytime within that. And keep in mind that the services they select will dictate when they can schedule an inspection. So if your average duration is 3 hours that you set up, they would not be able to set up an inspection here at 3 o'clock. They would need to set it up at 2 o'clock to cover you here, to make sure you're not working past those hours. We understand there's always reasons that you would work outside of those hours, so we always encourage some language above the online scheduler or wherever you put it to call you for special considerations. This option here is just to not allow scheduling within a certain time frame, so you're not stuck with an early morning inspection the night before. We know this can happen. Allow choice of inspectors. This is for multi-inspector firms that have areas or markets where they may want to choose an inspector. So if you click this, this will allow them to choose which inspector if they are available during their given time slot. This option here is to require confirmation of any booked inspection. So as we mentioned, this will show up on the desktop at the top right of your dashboard whenever there is a new online booking. It'll require you to actually click confirm before the email goes out. So this is before your scheduling email goes out. You have to manually go in and review the inspection details and click confirm. So if this is unchecked, your client will get this message in place of the online scheduler, which you should be linking to the inspection link placeholder, and that'll give them a button to click through to the inspection agreement and pay. So keep in mind, they'll get a message, they'll get the agreement with everything dynamically populated right away if you're not confirming inspections. This is a beta feature here for advanced users that want to do tracking to see where their online bookings came from, whether that's social or organic or paid advertising. So ask us if you have questions about this, probably more for advanced marketers. Here you can receive an email for completed bookings, in progress bookings, and then text messages as well. For the in progress, this is if the client gets to the point where they entered in their actual information and they bail and they abandon the inspection, it'll send you an email right away so you can follow up. You can always link to your standalone online scheduler. So if you click there, it'll show you your home inspection company's landing page with the online scheduler. The other option is to embed it on your website with this simple iframe code here. Many of you have WordPress. Let us know if you need help getting that put into your site. It's usually a breeze. One thing to keep in mind is that if you change your company name, you will need to re-add your iframe code because that will change the name in the iframe code here and break your online scheduler. So you'll need to just re-add the code if you change your company name. The inspection request form. This was our earliest version of an online booking. This is something somewhat of a legacy feature. Some inspectors still use it, however. So what this is just a form where clients and agents can request a time. So this is not automatically scheduling the inspection. This will also show up in your dashboard at the top right for you to confirm. They are able to select any time here. So keep in mind that this is more for open scheduling. A lot of new inspectors will tend to use this instead of the standalone online scheduler. We already went through inspection agreements. This is where you can add multiple agreements in here. If you have an existing agreement, you would copy and paste it into this box here and do your formatting. Payment integration. So we integrate with Stripe and Authorize.net via Guardian Financial Services. To break this down for you, Stripe is going to be the quick and easy setup. It'll take 5 minutes to set up. Their fees are about 2.9% per transaction. It's going to be more expensive, but it's going to be quicker to set up. Authorize.net is going to have cheaper rates over the long term. They're in about 1.9%, but they have monthly fee. So for you new inspectors, it typically makes sense to just get going with Stripe. And then as you start to do more inspections, switch to Authorize.net. We will be adding other payment processors in the future, so look out for that. To connect with Stripe, you simply click connect with Stripe and it gets you started entering in your information. Report options and report tools. This is where you would add your locations, and these are available in the mobile app and on the desktop report writer. Photo quality, we default this where we think is the best sweet spot at 75%. Here you can enable cost estimators, and you can click here to see what they look like in the report. And here you can require completion to publish. This will require you to have everything green check marked off in your report before you can publish. So if there's ever a bug or ever an issue with you not being able to publish, go in here and uncheck this, and this will allow you to publish without the report being technically complete. Company settings, this is where you can add your social links, and these show up on the report here. Subscription is where you can manage your subscriptions and or sign up. Integrations, so this will be an in-depth video on its own, but this is where you can integrate with Elite Sales Tactics, Secure24, ISN, or Recall Check. Localization, this is where you just select your time zone. So if you book an inspection and you feel like it's off by an hour or two, make sure to pop in here and make sure that your time zone is set. You probably saw in the main menu, there was email queue up here. So you can customize your main menu to include common areas that you go to. You just simply drag them to the top here and you can drag them back. Dashboard settings, this is where you would select your default calendar view. You can select your beginning of the workday, end of the workday, and then starting address for driving directions. User integrations, this is where you can set up iCal and Google Calendar. So anything in Spectora will pull over to those calendars. It is not a two-way sync. So if you put something in your iCal or Google Calendar, it will not pull over to Spectora, just something to keep in mind. And there's instructions here of how to add this. Another area for us to go through is your contacts. So keep in mind, anytime you book a new inspection and add an agent or client, they will get added to your contacts database. You can import a list of agents or clients from a CSV file. So just make sure that your spreadsheet has these column headers for it to import properly. You can edit any individual contact here by going over and clicking the edit button, adding a photo, changing the phone number, CC emails for, say, transaction coordinators or additional parties that want to get emails when a particular agent is involved. Your metrics section, this is something we'll be beefing up this year, but in the meantime, you have access to the number of inspections per month, referral sources, top agents, inspection locations is sometimes handy to know, as well as your revenue. I also wanted to take a look at the All Inspections page. Some inspectors will link to this from their main menu. It's a very helpful view, shows you all the information for your inspections. You can view a lot of inspections at once, you can sort and filter them, but it gives you a good overview. It's typically a quicker way to find inspections, and there's also a search bar here that you can use. All right, so that is the dashboard on desktop. So one thing I also want to go through is just how to create a new inspection and get going. So a lot of you new inspectors just want to know, how do I start an inspection and try it out? So from your dashboard, you would just click New Inspection. For multi, this is where you would select multiple inspectors that you want on the job. Select time, date, address. You will need to put in a zip code. And as you're entering this information in, if you want to disable all notifications and don't want any emails going out, you can do that here. This is a safe way to test setting up an inspection and going through it. So once you click Save Inspection, this will save now to your desktop. So you'll see this in the Today box right here. And you can always click into this inspection by clicking on the address to get to your inspection details screen. And this is where you'll see the people involved. If you want to add an agent or a listing agent, you would just click on the new box here and you'll see you can add an inspector, client, client's agent, listing agent. You'll see the fee, you'll see the inspection agreements attached to this inspection, and you'll also see any emails or text messages that are set to go out or have sent out for this given inspection. So this is a good place to check to see if an email has in fact gone out to a client or agent, and you can also resend it from this portion. So now once you've booked the inspection on desktop, you would log into the mobile app and go to your dashboard, and you'll now see the inspection for this morning. So if you tap into that, you'll see we have residential report and some other options here that you'll deal with after you do the inspection. But you tap into residential report and you'll have an empty inspection template there. So you can add the report cover photo, you can go in inspection details and start playing around with the inspection. So we'll have an in-depth tutorial on mobile inspection, but this is where you can go in and start tapping stuff off and start playing around. So if you go into exterior, you'll notice you'll have all the different items in here that you can select and mark off. I'm going into a defect here and selecting a few items. We want to take a picture of major cracking, you select photo. So that is how you get it to mobile. Here we'll annotate a defect. Tons of settings within mobile report writing, something we'll do an updated tutorial on this week, but that'll at least get you into the inspection. And one key point, once you're done testing it out, you'll want to make sure you're always saving if you don't have live syncing enabled, but you can also do that in your settings here. If you go to settings, live syncing is enabled, you'll notice, and it's syncing every minute. So what that does is that saves information to the cloud on desktop every minute. It's going to save your photos, your informational comments, any text you put in, it'll save it to the desktop every minute. All right, guys, that is an updated demo. That's Spectora in an hour. We haven't even covered everything. We'll do some more in-depth tutorials and videos into the sections like template editor, mobile report writing, desktop report writing. That should be enough to get you started. Feel free to reach out with any questions. We're happy to help, guys. Thanks.